Who would have thought, behind the stage lights and dazzling glimmer that always surround Jungkook of BTS, there is a figure who has quietly been his living shield. That person is not a family member, nor another BTS member, but a manager who has now stunned the world with his confession. In a leaked exclusive interview, he uttered words that left armies worldwide in silence. "If I have to, I am willing to die for Jungkook." This statement did not come without reason. Recently, Los Angeles became the silent witness to an incident that shook the entertainment industry. A serious threat to Jungkook's personal manager's safety has rattled BTS's security. It all began when the manager received a mysterious message containing details of his whereabouts, including the route he took with Jungkook to a closed-door event. The message included location photos and a threat that was no laughing matter. Few people knew that behind the scenes, the manager was the first to realize this threat. Instead of immediately involving the police or HYBE's security team, he decided to hide it from Jungkook, at least until he could confirm whether the threat was real. "I knew if Jungkook found out, he would be worried. I didn't want his performance to be affected, especially when he was preparing for an important project," he revealed in his confession. His decision turned out to be extremely risky. For several days after receiving the threat, the manager carried on with his routine as if nothing had happened. He only gave subtle hints to the security team to increase vigilance. However, the night before the main event, the threat turned into real action. Someone tried to tail the car they were in. At that moment, the manager made a decision Army would remember forever. "If they want to take someone, let it be me. Don't touch Jungkook," he said, recalling the moment that still shakes him to this day. According to his testimony, he had even prepared an emergency plan to divert the attackers' attention if they got too close. "I was ready to get out of the car and face them, no matter what happened." This confession spread rapidly on social media. The hashtags #ManagerBTS and #ProtectJungkook trended in multiple countries. Many armies shed tears reading the story, but some still found it hard to believe that someone could be willing to sacrifice their life for the artist they managed, a fan from South Korea wrote on Twitter. "All this time we only saw managers as people who arrange schedules and drive BTS to events. But today I realized they are the living shield standing on the front line, protecting the members from unseen dangers." Not only fans, but several entertainment industry figures also reacted. A former manager of a famous artist revealed that the risks faced by international celebrity managers are often unimaginable to the public. They don't just manage schedules, they are the first layer of security. Sometimes, they are the ones who receive threats before the artist does. In this case, what made it even more touching was the personal bond between the manager and Jungkook. They have worked together for more than 6 years. According to close sources, Jungkook considers the manager like an older brother. The two are often seen joking backstage, but also standing by each other during difficult times. Even so, Jungkook was reportedly very upset after finding out about the threat and how the manager chose to keep it a secret. "I don't want you protecting me by risking your life. I want us to fight together," Jungkook allegedly told his manager in a private conversation later leaked to the media. Now, the threat case is still under investigation. The Los Angeles police are working with the International Cybercrime Unit to track down the perpetrators. However, for Army, this incident is more than just a criminal case. It is a story of loyalty, sacrifice, and an unreplaceable bond. "If I could do it again, I would still stand between Jungkook and danger. That's my job and that's my choice," the manager said, ending his interview. Those words have now become a symbol of loyalty immortalized by fans around the world. In a world full of flashing cameras, gossip, and fierce competition, this confession is a reminder that there are genuine human connections behind all the glamour of the entertainment industry. And for Jungkook, perhaps this sacrifice is proof that family is not always bound by blood. Sometimes, family is the one who chooses to stand by you, even when the bullets are aimed in your direction. For many armies, this revelation has changed the way they see the people working behind BTS's global success. The manager's bravery has sparked deep admiration, not only for his loyalty, but also for his humility in keeping the story hidden for so long. Jungkook's silence after the confession has only added to the emotional weight of the moment, with fans wondering what private conversations might be happening behind closed doors. As the investigation continues, one thing is clear. This incident will be remembered as one of the most heartfelt displays of devotion in the history of the K-pop industry. After such an enormous wave of emotions, support from millions of ARMYs worldwide, and long debates on social media, the facts that emerged actually shook public perception. It turns out that most of the details in the news, shocking confession from BTS manager, willing to die for Jungkook, that had caused an uproar were not in line with reality. Investigations conducted by several credible media outlets in South Korea and the United States revealed that the heroic story was not an official statement from the manager, but rather an exaggerated interpretation of an internal conversation that was never intended for public consumption. In fact, the source mentioned in the initial news turned out to be just an anonymous social media account claiming to have information from an insider, a claim later proven unverifiable. According to clarification given directly by HYBE, the manager had indeed once spoken about the importance of keeping Jungkook safe, but the phrase, "willing to die for Jungkook," was never uttered in the form quoted by the news. The agency stated that this statement was a distortion of an informal conversation discussing security procedures. In that discussion, the manager merely emphasized that the artist's safety is the top priority and that he would always be at the front line to protect them. Furthermore, HYBE revealed that the threat incident in Los Angeles did occur, but on a far more controlled scale than what was reported. There was no dramatic tailing attempt or moment when the manager prepared to sacrifice himself, as portrayed in the media. The threat in question was an anonymous message sent via email, which was immediately handled by the company's security team without ever placing Jungkook or his manager in direct danger. These facts made many ARMYs feel trapped in a swirl of sensational information that exploited their emotions. "I cried when I read that news, but now I'm angry because it turns out many parts were exaggerated," wrote one fan on the Weverse platform. Similar reactions appeared on Twitter, where the hashtag #StopFakeNews briefly trended in several countries. The media outlet that first reported this story eventually issued a clarification on their page. In their statement, they admitted that the source used had no strong documentation, and part of the narrative was built based on editorial interpretation to enhance the story's appeal. Although they apologized, the damage caused by the news was already significant. Millions of fans had already believed the dramatic version, and the report had spread to various platforms, including international forums and YouTube channels. The impact of spreading inaccurate information not only affected public opinion but also had the potential to disrupt the professional reputation of the manager. In a brief interview facilitated by HYBE, the manager admitted being shocked when he read the news depicting him as if making that heroic statement. "I appreciate the fans' concern, but I never said anything like that. My job is indeed to protect the artist, but I don't want my story to be turned into a sensation," he said. This story is a real example of how exaggerated narratives can blur the line between reality and fiction in the entertainment industry. A single sentence taken out of context can develop into an epic tale that invites sympathy, yet at the same time misleads the public. In the digital media era, where the speed of information spread outpaces accuracy, the risks of this are greater than ever. Several media observers stress the importance of verification before publishing news, especially those involving public figures with large fan bases. In the case of a global artist like Jungkook, a rumor can turn into international news within hours. If the information is inaccurate, the impact can be extraordinary, both for the artist, their team, and the fans, said a communications professor from Seoul National University. For ARMY, this experience became a valuable lesson. Many of them now admit they will be more careful before believing and spreading information that has not been verified. In some fan communities, initiatives have begun to emerge to conduct internal fact-checking before sharing news containing major claims. HYBE itself has confirmed that they will not take legal action against the media that published the story, but they hope this incident will serve as a warning for journalists to be more responsible in delivering information. "We understand that the public has a great curiosity about our artists, but safety and truth must always take priority over dramatization," wrote a company representative in an official statement. In the end, this story teaches that not everything that sounds touching or heroic is reality. Although the relationship between Jungkook and his manager is indeed close, and although the manager is committed to ensuring his safety, the story that developed in the media has blurred the line between fact and imagination. Now, after the truth has been revealed, the public is reminded not to focus solely on narratives that tug at the heart, but also to seek data and evidence that can be accounted for. Because in the entertainment world full of intrigue, even the most moving story can sometimes be nothing more than the product of clever storytelling. And in the end, as happened this time, it is not the whole truth.